Good morning, everyone. It's Charmaine from Eco Mama. You probably know that because you'd be seeing this on my Facebook page. I'm here to kick off my Protect mini-series, which I felt cool to do, even though there was lots of noise on the internet. It still felt like there might be something useful for you guys. And it's a good way for me to also tap back in and sharpen what I'm working on. So I just poured myself a cup of tea in this beautiful koa mug. How gorgeous is it? I got this as a kitchen tea present from my beautiful friend Kelly. Like 6 years ago. And I just love it so much. For anyone that's here with me live, can you just let me know, give me a thumbs up or something if you can hear me okay? That would be fab. And then once I get that go ahead, I will start chatting. Cool. I got a like, so I'm gonna take that as that you can hear me. Cool, beautiful. I just realized I'm about to do a health mini series, and that's my wine cabinet in the background. I just love this spot though. It's a beautiful spot. I'll turn around and show you where I'm at, if I can do it. This is my back deck. So this is one of my favorite spots to work. And I really like the lighting in this space. I love that I can look out. Anyway, I'll stop waffling now that I know that you can hear me all. So thank you for jumping in and joining me for my mini series. I hope you find it really helpful. The main goal of this mini series was to, I guess, be able to share with you what I'm doing in my clinic, what I'm doing in my home. But the most important thing I wanted to share and focus on was the fact that I'm feeling quite empowered in this space that we're in at the moment. So yeah, there's some challenges and there's definitely some moments where I spiral into a chaos. But majority of the time I'm feeling pretty optimistic. Someone's just started mowing their lawns, so bear with me while I close the windows, because I think the sound really echoes up here. Dun, dun, dun. I hope that's a little bit better. Everyone's mowing their lawns, right? Oh, Myrna! Is that you on? I hope that's you. I can see your logo on the screen. That's something new. But hello, honey, if that is you on. I miss you. Oh, okay, let me get this wine cabinet out of the way because it's really distracting and embarrassing. Alrighty, let's dive in. Oh, it is you. Hello, Myrna. Hey, Sharon, how are you? Doing great things in the world, my dear. Well done. All right, so protect. So today is all about food, which you probably would have gathered. It's one of my hot favorite topics. I love food. I love the relationship that we've got with food, and I love food as medicine. So in my clinic, I'm really trying to, sometimes I'll use supplements and herbs, but the core foundation of what I do with my home, in my home and in my clinic is really talk about food because one, it's empowering. It's easy for us to get. We don't need to spend a lot of money to go out and get food. We're kind of doing it anyway. And the food that we eat makes up our body. So it makes sense to be focusing on food first and then looking at supplements and herbs and all of those beautiful things if we need to. So I'm going to dive into 3 topics today. So we're talking about supporting immunity, and then we're going to talk about things that might be turning down your immunity, and then we're going to turn it into a reality. So I'm going to give you some takeaways that you can bring this into your everyday life. So talking about supporting immunity, this is like such a massive topic. I could go on for so long about the different things that we can do to support immunity, but I'm focusing on the top things that I'm recommending to people, and I'm focusing on the top things that I'm doing in my home. So the foods that we eat can either take away from our health or they can support our health. And when I think about food, I'm thinking about plants in general. Like plants, how freaking cool are plants? Like there's one tiny little seed that gets generally just dropped out from a bird, and then it turns into a massive tree, or it could give us fruit for the next however many years. Like we've got a 30-year-old orange tree in our backyard. How cool is that? It came from one little orange seed. So when we stop and think about how profound these plants are, they have withstood the elements of time. So you've got, all the different temperatures. They've got lots of organisms and bacteria out there. They've got lots of viruses trying to attack them. They've got insects. They've got birds trying to eat them. And they're still going. So when I think about plants and I think about my body, I'm like, well, they must be doing a pretty good job to be able to survive living outside all the time. So I want to be consuming that into my body because I assume, well, I know because of what I study, that I'm also bringing those properties into my body. So one of the best things we can do for supporting immunity is to look at plants. So for my vegetarian friends on here, kudos to you. But that doesn't mean that we can just live on bread and cheese. For hint, for those of you that are watching, you know who I'm talking to. It's a really good time for us to look at our plant kingdom and what we could be using that we're not even really thinking about. Like when we think about plants, we're thinking maybe like a salad or adding broccoli onto your steak or something like that. But we can go a little bit deeper than that when we're looking at supporting immunity. So I want to start with mushrooms. So I have my mushrooms in my drink bottle, mainly for adrenal and immune tonic. And I've also added in a mushroom powder. This is my drink for today. It's a beautiful tea from Indigo Aurora called Blissful. She's got peppermint, rose petals and cacao nibs in there, and I add in some mushroom as well just for additional support. So mushrooms, you can get beautiful mushroom powders from health food stores, or you can get them online. And another thing I do though is just add mushrooms into my cooking. So I wasn't going out selectively to buy shiitake mushrooms before, but now I'm going to buy shiitake mushrooms because I know they've got lots of benefits. So some of the top mushrooms that have been studied and show immune qualities is reishi, shiitake, oyster, lion's mane, which we don't really get a lot here. What's the other one? The long stringy ones. I hope you know what I'm talking about. So they're the top ones that have been studied for immune support. So you can think of ways that you can add these into your food. So you can either just eat mushrooms raw generally, or whip up a beautiful mushroom risotto, wild mushroom risotto or something like that. How gorgeous. My kids don't like to eat mushrooms, so I'm mincing it up and I'm hiding it into all their stuff. So they don't know any different. Like the other day I made a lentil bolognese and I just put like 8 gazillion mushrooms in there, but in like a mince form, and they didn't even notice. It was brilliant. They loved it. So another thing that we're using quite a lot is herbs. So I've got my little herb garden outside, which I'm so proud that I could keep alive for the first time in ages. Herbs in general all have some sort of antimicrobial benefits. But the key ones, I put a post on today, the key ones that I'm using is thyme, oregano, and rosemary. They're probably the main ones that I'm using in my cooking at the moment. They've all got lots of beautiful antimicrobial properties, and they're really supportive of, they've got lots of nutrients in them. We call them phytonutrients, which support our immune system, and it can help our immune system to fight off disease. So where possible, can you add herbs into your cooking? So when I'm adding herbs into my cooking, like if I make a salad, there's generally a whole bunch of parsley in my salad. The other night I made my lentil bolognese and I put a whole bunch of oregano in there. Like it was intense, but it was beautiful. And I knew that by consuming those foods, I could taste the herb. There was also that part of my subconscious that was like, oh, I'm really doing something beautiful for my body, which was so nice. Garlic and ginger. We probably don't need to talk too much about that. I'd say that's probably common, that people know that garlic and ginger are helpful for our immune function. So if you're not already adding 18 million more cloves of garlic than what the recipe suggests, do that if you can stomach garlic. If you are fighting off a cold or a flu at the moment, you can actually swallow whole cloves of garlic. When you cut garlic, that's when you start to get like that smell of sulfur coming out of your body. Whereas if you're not cutting the clove, or you can take it frozen, generally you'll get away with not stinking out the household. Pretty sure. But generally when I'm doing this, my whole family's doing it as well. So we might just not be smelling each other reeking of garlic. But I'm kind of used to that anyway because we use a lot of garlic. So you can consume whole cloves of garlic. which is lovely. Citrus. So different ways of consuming citrus. So you can add lemon onto your salads. If you've been following me for a while, you'll probably see that I use a lot of lemon when I'm doing my cooking. I love to cook with lemon. I love sour. I love tangy. And I just love citrus in everything. So I had my grapefruit in my water this morning. I put half a grapefruit in there. We just had an orange for morning tea. Last night I chucked some lime, like a whole lime, into my guacamole. So different ways that you can add citrus into what you're doing, because you've got the beautiful benefits of vitamin C, which is great. Disempowering immunity. So wait, let me just double check that there's no comments. I probably should have said, please feel free to chuck any comments or questions that you've got up there, so I can come back to you. I'm happy for you to pick my brain while I'm here. So disempowering immunity is very common, and I want to run you through a very typical example. So let me use my example. So I know that I'm sensitive to dairy, right? Who doesn't love dairy though? So when I'm consuming dairy, and my body doesn't like it very much. I haven't built up a tolerance to it yet. I'm working on that. But I haven't built up a tolerance to dairy yet. So when I'm consuming dairy, my body starts to have an immune response. So I get a little bit of runny nose, I get a little bit itchy in my skin, my throat can feel a little bit itchy, my tummy gets bloated like so quickly. And I can feel like a postnasal drip down the back of my throat. So I feel like I'm constantly swallowing phlegm. It's a real shame, but you know, it's part of my life. So I don't consume a lot of dairy, but then on the times that I do consume dairy, I know within like 10 minutes of eating dairy that my body's having an immune response. It doesn't like that I'm eating dairy. It's going, oh my God, we're under attack, fire, get rid of all of this stuff. And it's turning on my immune system. So while my immune system is turned on and it's trying to deal with the dairy because it thinks it's under attack by the dairy, hello little bug comes over and gets sneezed all over you, you can very easily get sideswiped by an invading pathogen, which we know that we're here talking about COVID. I don't want it to be all about COVID. I want it to be about just supporting our immune in general, but that's the reality that we're in at the moment. So I want to encourage you to have a think about those foods that you think might be problematic for you. And you probably know the ones that might be problematic for you. Like, I don't have anyone come into my clinic that doesn't know that they're sensitive to X, Y, Z, but they keep eating it because it tastes really good. And I totally get that. And I can 100% relate to that. And I'm just saying, have a think about whether you are willing to honor your body and support your body enough to possibly remove those things out of your diet for a few weeks, if not for longer. That would be cool too. But can we start with that? Because some people find, okay, if I'm going to remove dairy out of my diet, let's do it for 3 weeks. By the time the 3 weeks is up, they're kind of like, oh, it actually wasn't as bad as what I thought it was. I put off years, like for years, I put off giving up dairy because I'm like, oh my God, I can't live without cheese. What am I going to have in my coffee? And I didn't. And it was like seriously a week later that I was like, oh, I haven't even missed dairy. How cool is that? And now when I think of dairy, I'm not like salivating going, oh my God, I need dairy in my life. I'm just not eating dairy. So I encourage you to give it a go so you can support your body, support your immune system, or give your immune system a break to be able to do what it needs to be doing, which is fighting off disease as it comes into our body. We have diseases come in contact with us all the time, but our immune system will generally fire up some inflammation in your throat or your nose, or you get phlegm or you're sneezing it out, and all of a sudden your body's taking care of that bug. So that's what we want to be trying to do. So bug comes in, bug can just get sneezed away. Would be lovely. Not onto anyone else, hopefully. So that is disempowering your immunity. I also want to encourage you, where possible, to go organic. And I talk about going organic quite a lot, so my clients know that I'm talking about going organic quite a lot. Number one, I love that organic food is generally more kind on the environment. Organic food is a lot easier for us to obtain these days, but also organic food isn't sprayed with lots of pesticides and chemicals. So when we are ingesting general food that we'll buy from the supermarket or the fruit and veggie shop, they're generally quite high in chemicals and pesticides. So when we consume those foods and pesticides into our gut, that kills off the good guys in our gut and the bad guys as well. But not as much of the bad guys, kills off more of the good guys. So those good guys are actually really important for our immune system. We really want those good guys in our gut to build our immunity, to build our white blood cells, to be able to fight off disease if it does come in. But if we're consuming fruit and vegetables, which is awesome, but then it's sprayed with herbicides and pesticides, we're kind of not defeating the purpose. We're still getting some benefits out of the produce. But definitely not as much as what we could get if it was organic and wasn't sprayed with pesticides. There's a whole other realm of why organic is better for you, but that's the main reason. I want to support your gut because your gut manages your immune system. So if we can reduce the pesticides coming into our body, we can support our gut health, and then we can have the benefits of gut health, which is fighting off disease. So that's going organic. The last thing, let me just have a sip of tea and a breath because I'm talking a lot. Making food as medicine. I love this quote, food as medicine, because I have felt it within myself, the benefits of using food to my advantage. I've also felt, those feel-good feelings you might get from smashing a pizza, but then you feel really crappy half an hour later. I know that we can all relate to that. But I have used food as medicine quite a lot in my practice and within my own body, and I can 100% say hands down that food is medicine. You take away the supplements, take away the herbal medicine, take away the other stuff. If you can get the foundation of food right, the rest of the stuff will flow quite organically. So food as medicine is a reality. We can get this in our body. It's not something different that is only for a nutritionist or a naturopath. You can do it at home as well, just by simply adding a few things into your food. So I encourage you to add in the medicinal foods that we spoke about, the mushrooms, the herbs, the citrus. What else did I talk about? Mushrooms, herbs, citrus, the garlic and the ginger, adding those into your everyday life. I don't want you to feel like you need to reinvent the wheel. If you're having a pasta tonight, for example, could you look at maybe making it a gluten-free pasta so you've got some different grains or some different pulses or legumes in there? How can you add in a handful of spinach and a handful of chopped up garlic into that pasta sauce that you normally would have left quite plain? Could you add in a bunch of oregano to spice it up a little bit? The flavor is incredible, and it's a simple way to just add additional things into what you're already doing. Don't feel like you need to go out and reinvent the wheel. Where can you add stuff in to make it a lot more nutrient dense? Where can you remove the stuff that you know is problematic for you? At the moment in my diet, I'm doing I'm kind of making it up as I go, tweaking it as I go, but I guess what I'm doing is predominantly a paleo style diet. So gluten-free, dairy-free, grain-free. I'm having small amounts of grains and legumes, but just gluten-free, good quality ones. I'm making sure they're organic. Eating lots and lots of veggies with every meal. Adding in garlic and herbs into pretty much every meal because I love to eat that way. And for those of you that are in the local area, which is a lot of you that are on my Instagram and Facebook, I wanted to let you know how you can obtain organic produce. So we've got Kath, is the owner of Field to Feast. So her farm is out at Catherine Fields, and she has the most beautiful produce out there. Her husband Happy mans the farm. Yep, that's his name, and he's divine, a divine man. They're a beautiful couple that really look after their land and look after the food that we eat. So I will always shout out to Field to Feast. I also run a immune boost mini consults. So they're express consults. They're $40 for 20 minutes. We just do it online or on the phone. And Kath has been kind enough to give us a discount code, which is 20% off her fruit and veggie boxes, which is super cool, because they're only $49 for a week's worth of organic veggies, and then you get 20% off that. So it's really good value. So I just buy one of them a week and that's enough to do me. I might top up on some fruit and veg. So that's Kath Field to Feast out at Catherine Fields, and she does do local delivery, and I think she's just started going up to Newcastle as well, but check her out. She is starting to do delivery in lots of different places. We also have Lakeslands Meats. So Lakeslands Meats is out at Thelmy. For those of you that do consume meat, so he's out at Thelmy. He is organic, free range, hormone free, all of those beautiful things. And he does beef, lamb and pork out at Thelmy. So again, we're reducing the pesticides that are coming into our body by consuming really good quality meats. And I did have one other. Who was I going to talk about? Nope. But something that's just come into mind actually is honey. Who doesn't love honey? Beautiful, right? We are very fortunate here in Camden to have some wonderful honey growers. So I know Honey Boss, they've got honey hives out at Thelmy. And there's a number of different growers that sell their honey online and also out at the Camden Produce Market. So whenever you're having honey, I encourage it to be raw. I encourage it to be unfiltered and unheated. And I also encourage it to be from your local area. So thanks, Carol. I'll get you a cup one day. I encourage honey to be from your local area because there's benefits to your immune system by consuming honey that's got pollen from bees that have just been eating the stuff that's in your air. I don't even know if any of that made sense. It makes sense in my mind, but if someone could give me a thumbs up or a like if that made sense. So the pollen that's floating around your environment is generally things that will trigger hay fever and asthma and that kind of stuff. So by consuming honey from bees that have consumed the same pollen as to what you're inhaling, you can build up immunity towards those pollens, so your body doesn't feel like it's having as many allergic responses to the pollens that are floating around. I hope that makes a little bit of sense. I think that is pretty much the top things I wanted to cover. So supporting immunity with foods and herbs, look at where you could be disempowering your immunity and what you could do to play around with that, and how to make food as a reality, food as medicine as a reality for you. So please #afterparty if you're jumping on and watching this later. I love to see that little ping in my notifications to know that someone's getting something out of this. This is part 1 of this mini series. I'll be checking back in tomorrow talking about what we're taking. So all about supplements and how to get the best out of the supplements that you're taking, and where you might be able to use food-based supplements as opposed to using chemical and lab-produced supplements. So please jump in at 10 o'clock tomorrow to talk about what we are taking and what I'm prescribing in my clinic. And for anyone interested, jump onto my website, www.ecomama.com. The link is in my Facebook page, and you can have a look at my Immune Boost package. And I've also put a blog up about immunity and stress, which I might share that with you guys today as well. So thank you for watching, everyone, and then I have to go. Oh, you're working from home. Oh, that's cool though. It's cool that we have this ability to work from home, right? So lucky. It's been lovely to connect with you. And for those of you who want to reach out, feel free to PM me or just comment in here. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.